Any Wednesday could be the worst day of the week. For us, this Wednesday is the first day of my daughter's 2-month vacation. And we are going to celebrate it in the most Shanghainese way possible,
Wow, el
putting my
agua.
daughter into a skating class in a building that looks like a mountain covered in plants.
Wow, el agua.
Hi, I'm Chili, a rookie dad and a Chino Rolo, which means I'm half Chinese and half Bogotan, or born in Bogota, Colombia. I am also a designer, and at the moment of making these videos, I don't have a permanent job or a stable salary. If this is your first time around here, a week ago my daughter graduated from kindergarten. She finished her first year and now has 2 free months until the first week of September. My wife and I
¿No
decided
hay
that the
bicis
first
azules?
vacation plan was going to be this:
¿No
coming
hay
to
bicis
try
azules?
out a skating class here in this shopping center called 1000 Trees. This place is located on the western side of Shanghai, near the Suzhou River and very close to the Shanghai Central Railway Station. Its real name is Tiananqianshu, which means the same thing, 1000 trees, and the name is not an exaggeration. This building has almost 1,000 concrete columns, and each one ends in a giant pot with real trees. In total, there are more than 1,000 trees and about 250,000 plants spread across the entire facade, watered with an automatic system hidden inside the columns themselves. It was designed by the studio of the British architect Thomas Heatherwick, the same one who made the United Kingdom pavilion at the Shanghai Expo 2010. The inspiration was literal: two green mountains, as if they were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Chinese shopping center version. This mall has already been open for about 4 years,
A ver, busca las
and
bicis
as you can
azules.
see, outside there are always tourists taking photos, especially because the design is completely different
Bien,
from
vamos.
any other mall in the city. Before being this mountain of concrete and plants, this land was a wheat flour factory, the Rongshi Fufeng. Part of the original structure is still preserved, an old bell tower that now functions as a panoramic viewpoint. This 1000 trees shopping center is also very close to a street called Moganshan, or in Chinese, Moganshanlu. That's where one of those creative hubs is located, which became fashionable when I arrived here in Shanghai about 15 years ago. The place is called M50 because of the exact address: number 50 Moganshanlu. Before, it was a textile factory, the Chunming, which closed at the end of the 90s. An artist named Zhu Song was the first to move in there looking for cheap rent, and gradually other artists followed him. Today, there are more than 100 studios and galleries operating inside those same warehouses. It's like the Soho of New York, but the Shanghai version. In fact, even Time magazine put it on its list of things to do in the city. When I arrived in Shanghai, this street was full of graffiti everywhere, and now they have removed almost all of them, and that gives me an immense nostalgia, comparing them to the graffiti in Bogota, my hometown. But that is one of the strongest memories I have from my first visits to this place. Before having a wife, before having a daughter, I was already walking around here. This entire M50 and 1000 trees neighborhood and the park next to it is right against the Suzhou River, and the Suzhou River has a very powerful history. For decades, it was known as the most polluted river in Shanghai. The water was literally black, and smelled so bad that people who lived nearby wouldn't open their windows even in summer. The government invested more than 14 billion yuan between 1998 and 2011 to clean it up. Today, it no longer smells bad. There are fish, there are turtles, and this entire promenade area where we are walking with my daughter was literally unthinkable 30 years ago. That's why now you see so many people walking along the bank. Ladies exercising, tourists taking photos, groups of friends dressed up for photos at sunset. My daughter runs ahead, looking at the river without any rush. Riding a shared bicycle or walking along the riverbank is something that simply didn't exist before in Shanghai. There was nowhere to walk. The river was blocked by warehouses and industrial docks. Well, we have entered the shopping center, and although they have done a lot of advertising for it, the truth is that this place looks like it's in decline. Despite being open for 3 to 4 years, one would expect to see more commercial activity, but no. As in any large mall in China, each floor has its own identity. In the basement and the first floor is the food court with the usual brands: McDonald's, KFC, Chinese fast food. In China, these famous brands have a Chinese name. For example, McDonald's is called Maidang Lao and KFC is Kendeji. On the first and second floors, there is something more like art galleries, designer furniture stores, and more expensive restaurants. On the third and fourth floors is where everything interesting for us as parents is located. An entire floor dedicated to health, like yoga studios, and the fourth floor dedicated entirely to children. This type of vertical mall by categories is a very common model in China. The fast food is at the bottom to bring in traffic, and they increase the price level and exclusivity, floor by floor as you go up. And on the seventh and eighth floors of this shopping center are the luxurious restaurants. Top floor is almost always for families because they are the ones who stay the longest and spend the most in a single place. Here, it is literally a world apart. And on this children's floor, there are hair salons designed for children with chairs in the shape of cars and unicorns. There is a skateboard shop for kids, and there is something that has become very common in China: places to practice bungee jumping with a harness and an elastic rope, very popular among children of this generation. But what caught my curiosity the most was another shop. School to teach children how to pose in front of the camera and how to walk like runway models. Sincerely, that did seem strange to me. I had never seen anything like it in any other country. And in your country, do these types of modeling academies for children or for posing for social media exist? Tell me in the comments because it truly surprised me. And well, here is where we were coming, the place for the skating classes. My daughter enters a bit insecure. The instructor leaned down to talk to her, to explain to her how they are going to put on the skates, the helmets, the knee pads. The class lasts 1 hour. Inside there are other children, some skating with ease, others like my daughter taking their first steps, holding the instructor's hand. Roller skating has had a huge boom in China in recent years, especially after the pandemic, when many people started looking for outdoor activities or controlled indoor spaces. Today, There are children's skating academies in almost any large shopping center in first-tier cities. After the hour of class, we are already on our way back home. As always, we take the shared bicycles. Night is already falling. Summer is just beginning, so it gets dark quite late, around 7:30 or 8 at night. Shared bicycles in China operate with a fee that is around $3 or $4 a month for unlimited trips. That's why almost nobody buys their own bicycle in these big cities. And on the way, we talked with my wife about the class. We asked my daughter if she liked it, and honestly, she didn't look very sure. By her expression, we didn't know if she really liked it or not. In the end, we decided something. We are not going to enroll her in these classes. It's not because of the class itself, but because of how these businesses work here in China. It has already happened to us before, especially with gyms. They hook you so that you sign up for 1 or 2 years, and within a few months, the place no longer exists. They live with your money. In this case, the enrollment was for 10 classes for about 3,500 yuan, which is more or less 500 US dollars. And those 10 classes had a limit of 4 months to use them. With that combination of a high price, a short time limit, and the real risk of the business closing, we decided it wasn't worth it for now. Has something similar happened to you? Paying in advance for some course or membership and the place closing before you can use it fully. And well, that was what we did on this first day of vacation. We didn't enroll my daughter in skating, but we came to this incredible building. We walked along the bank of a river that 30 years ago was pure pollution, and we spent a whole afternoon, the three of us together. Tell me, how did you like this chapter? And if you want to keep following this Chino Rolo in his adventures as a rookie dad with a bicultural family, subscribe, leave me your comments, and share this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.